Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our latest vlog, including to our Energy Minister, Chris Bowen. He might be interested to watch this one. We have a very opinionated man. I had to get him on board because it's the hottest topic out there, especially politically and in the business world. It's the CEO of Cauldron Energy, Jonathon Fisher. How are you today?
John, mate, I'm great and good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, absolute pleasure. Now, let's start with the politics of the whole situation.
Yeah,
Domestically, do you think uranium will be considered a critical part of the energy mix?
right. There's two issues there. One is uranium mining. Second is nuclear reactors. They're related but separate issues, and let me tell you why. We can have a world-leading uranium export industry in Australia without the need for nuclear reactors domestically. And I'd highlight the fact that Kazakhstan, which produces 40% of the world's uranium, is right next to Russia, ex-Soviet country. Everyone thinks that Kazakhstan would be run on nuclear energy. It's not. Kaz actually has only ever run two research reactors, exactly the same as Australia. So there is a possibility there that we mine uranium at a world-class rate in best of class environmental and safety arenas, and we don't have our own reactors. Now let's move over to the reactors, right? If we manage to get reactors in Australia, well, then let me tell you, you're going to have a mining industry, but it doesn't necessarily happen the other way around. And do I think it's the right move to have reactors in this country? Yes, absolutely, I do. And it's great. It's great that the Liberals are pushing this federally. And I've been on record trying to hold the government to account about their frankly dodgy modelling, which sandbags the case for nuclear versus renewables. And man, I could talk about that all day.
I wish we had the time, but we'll move on. We'll move on, mate. So, from a macro perspective, will uranium supply match the demand? Like, there's obviously a huge global demand, but will the
Mm.
supply catch up at any time?
Yeah, so that's a really good point. So what people need to know is even at today's baseline of nuclear demand, so before we go into the triple nuclear pledge that has occurred, primary producers cannot supply today's demand. So we can only supply about 75% of today's requirements. The rest is coming from secondary sources. For example, megatons to megawatts program, i.e., disassembling nuclear weapons. Look, that's kind of dried up, and unfortunately, in today's geopolitical regime, it seems people are building more nuclear weapons, not disassembling them. And the second thing that the market relies on is overproduction, which did occur in the 60s, 70s, and 80s as part of the Cold War. So there's these stockpiles. They're owned by either strategic reserves by countries or by commercial physical holders. And when they need to sell those, it comes at a very high price. So right now, we can't supply the market. We just had a triple nuclear pledge. Now, what does that mean? Mate, it means that every single uranium project that is in the sort of forward pipeline needs to come online and more to even have a chance of supplying the market. So it is a very bullish environment for uranium over the next 10, 20 years.
Talking about bullish, your share price has gone up over 300% over the past year. Tell our audience a little about what we're here for. Cauldron Energy, CXU. Tell us about your company.
Yeah, look, thanks. So I think the market sort of realised that we have an absolutely cracking project. It is in WA, and that is subject to a current uranium mining ban by the Labor government. But everyone is now of the view that it is not a matter of if that policy changes, it's a matter of when it changes back to the old policy where you could do it. So we have what is called an ISR project. It is big, world scale, low cost. The IRR on today's spot price will be over 100%. I mean, it's an absolute cracker. And, I think the market has just sort of, that was lost on the market. New management team in, we've done a few good new things. And we're out drilling it actually in quite soon. So the market's getting pretty excited about that.
Another reason why the market should be excited is your recent drilling result. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So look, we've done a few things, right? We put out a scoping study before Christmas, and as I said, that shows even on a stage one small development over. I think we reported at 80% IRR on that, the pricing back then, but it would be over 100% today. We then put out an exploration target to say, yeah, look, we've got 30 million pounds in JORC, but we think there's an extra 50 million pounds in the surrounding area. And actually, if you look in the detail of the announcement, it's not an extra 50, it's probably an extra 100. Sorry, an extra 70 to get up to 100. So out of that, we then raised some money, which we were able to do at a premium to the share price because there's a lot of interest in the stock. And we are going out to drill out that exploration target and deliver more pounds to the balance sheet. Delivering pounds to the balance sheet for us right now is the most value accretive thing we can do for investors.
Now, finally, over the next 6 months, what do shareholders have to look forward to?
So drilling in uranium, and we'll be able to provide some regular results on that because you don't actually have to wait for assays from the lab because you sort of downhole probe is the way you sample those results. So uranium drilling, lots of it, up to 25,000 meters, which is actually a really big program. Look, we are also drilling right now another project, which is a polymetallic sort of nickel, cobalt, platinum, PGE, copper asset in the West Yilgarn. So that's in a great exploration area. And we'll be reporting those results pretty soon as well. So, you know, what people want to see from juniors is money raised going straight into the ground. That's what we're doing. The second thing you can expect from Cauldron is absolutely continued top class shareholder engagement, as well as government engagement to change this policy in WA. So I'm sort of leading the charge on that. I'd encourage everyone to follow me on Twitter at CXU ASX. You know, stay tuned because it's going to be a really interesting sort of 6 to 9 months.
Jonathon, I wish we had more time. You're a busy man. I think I could speak to you for hours. I do follow you on Twitter, and I'm looking at CXU very closely. There's a big future in uranium. Chris Bowen, like it or not. Mate, see you next time.
Thanks, mate. See you soon.
Cheers.